the same mistakes over and over again. Oh, let's try a Democratic mayor. Maybe it'll work this time.
We're live.
Yeah, I know.
Get my pen.
Great.
Yeah. Like, I'm a soul.
Yep. Seven, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Ferrysburg City Council meeting to order. Monday, May 1st, 2023, 7 p.m., Ferrysburg City Hall. Roll call, please.
Mayor Blease,
Here.
Councilmember Donald,
Here.
Councilmember Carlson,
Here.
Councilmember Montgomery,
Here.
Councilmember Sias,
Here.
Councilmember Murdoch,
Here.
Councilmember Kate.
Here.
Please stand for the invocation by Councilmember Kate, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Excuse me. Lord God, in your word, you tell us not to put our trust in princes or the Son of Man, because with their last breath, they no longer matter. So we put our trust in you, and we ask for your guidance, your leadership, and your direction in all that we do. In your name we ask it. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Okay. Number 5, public comments. This time on the agenda for any citizen, direct brief comments or questions to City Council. Time for public comments will be given when an agenda item is discussed. If you have a comment or question, please raise your hand, be recognized by the mayor. Please give your name and address for the record and proceed with your comment or question. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Any public comment? Seeing none. Number 6, consideration for approval consent agenda. A, approve the April 17th, 2023 City Council meeting minutes as printed.
So moved. Support.
Motion support, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7, new business. Discussion, take action if appropriate to approve a bid from Wolf Kubota for $20,016 for new riding lawnmower with bagger. Craig?
So we do a lot of cutting grass around here with the Parks and City Hall property. And so the seasonal help is basically tasked with keeping the parks up. One of our mowers is having a little problem with burning oil. It's getting to be of age. And we got a quote here for an X-Mark, which is the model we currently have. The Public Works Department has been very pleased with the X-Mark, the performance. And we have a quote here for $20,016 to purchase a new one, and that would come with baggers.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the bid for the Wolf Kubota, $20,016 for the new riding lawnmower with bagger. Support.
Motion support, further discussion?
Have we looked at any other mowing systems?
We currently have a couple John Deeres, but they just don't seem to perform like this X-Mark does.
Any idea like what the price point is of like the John Deere equivalent?
I don't know the answer to that.
I guess my concern is, you know, we've had the one John Deere for almost 10 years, and they're a quarter of the price.
I don't know the answer what the price is. We can get that information for you.
Okay.
Any further discussion? I know it looks like a lot of money, but boy, everything's going up.
Yeah, I agree. Everything's going up, but I mean, I've bought several riders for different organizations I'm a part of over the last 2 years, and they're all in like the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 range for zero turn commercial riders. And I looked online. I mean, this is a nice rider. And this is a good price for it. I just don't know what we're getting that we wouldn't get for one of those other ones.
Well, it's the one we have, we haven't really had any issues with it,
Oh,
according to the
no.
report. And that is what, 10 years old, or how old is it?
4.5.
Come with any sort of warranty, Craig? Let's see it.
Seeing one on it.
Yeah, my fear is if we buy another John Deere, the one we have 2014 is 9 years old, 1,644 hours, which is good, but now it's got issues. And, you know, I'm sure Matt's looked at different things here, and yeah, I just hate to spend less money and then have issues with, you know, a different brand. You know, to save a little money now, but then what if it doesn't last? What if it breaks down in a couple of years?
Yeah.
I don't know.
My thought was having a mower with the amount of mowing they do last for 10 years is pretty good performance.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Craig, is the John Deere the same size as the X-Mark?
Yeah, 72-inch.
Have we had X-Mark before, other than this one that's 4 years old?
No. We've had 2 John Deeres, then we went to the X-Mark.
How long did the other, do we have both of them still?
I think so, yes.
Any idea when we got those?
One's a 2014, and I would have to look when we got the other one. It was before that.
$20,000, I would at least want to know there's some sort of a benefit to us paying this extra. You know, there's a warranty or an extended warranty or some guarantee, something.
We can get that information. I don't have it with me.
Your Honor, do we want to table this till we get further information, or should we go ahead with a motion that's put on the table already?
Yeah, we have a motion support, so we have to vote on that first. And then if it doesn't pass, then we can decide to table it after that.
Your Honor,
Yes.
in the light of the discussion, I would like to amend the motion. I would like to table it to this.
Okay.
Get more information on it.
Okay. So motion and support to table it. All in favor, or any more discussion?
Your Honor, one more
Yeah.
thing for Craig. Do we have any idea when what the turnaround is on this? How soon we can get it?
I thought they told me 18 months, 12, 18 months.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Will that price be locked in, or if we? What a silly question.
I mean, we can bring it back next council meeting.
Yep,
That should be
well,
enough time for you.
Yep. some
Okay.
information on
Get
that.
competitive pricing.
Jeez,
Others
okay.
Equivalents.
Okay, yep, motion support to table it, so any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion table. Okay, 7B, discussion take action if appropriate to waive Personnel Manual Section 2.5C nepotism to hire for seasonal help a relative of an employee who works in the same department. Craig?
So one of our one of our seasonal help, Lynn, started in 2018, and then he worked into full-time. And basically, he's tasked with maintaining the city parks. He has a grandson who's interested in doing that same kind of work this summer. And Lynn would like to train him to do that. So per the personnel manual, you can't have an employee that is a relative of someone working in the same department. So for this to happen, City Council will need to waive that requirement from the personnel manual.
And we can do that?
Yes.
Have you met Tyler?
I have not. Matt has, though, and interviewed him.
Okay, Matt did,
Yes.
and he's good with him
Yes.
starting and having his grandpa train him? Yes, sir.
I would move that we not make the exception to the nepotism rule. It's in place for a reason. It's not saying anything negative about the person that's applying for the job, but it is in place to protect the city against. If we make an exception for one, we'd have to have, we would need to have a set of guidelines for when we make an exception for one and maybe not exception for another. That could also open us up for a lawsuit. I think this is one of the ordinances that has been in place. And I think we should just not take it up at the. Perhaps if we want to move this to a work session and have some guidelines for exceptions, that might be something we want to take a look at doing.
Okay, Tim made a motion to not support it, so not approve. Do we have any support for his motion? Okay, Tim's motion failed. Does anybody want to make a new motion to approve the change?
Your Honor, I want to ask Craig, is this just for this person? Okay.
Clarification, this is not an ordinance. It's a personnel manual.
Correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion to waive the personnel manual section 2.5C nepotism to hire for seasonal help a relative of an employee who works in the same department.
Okay, motion support. Further discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes, Bill.
Craig, don't we already have firefighters that are related to each other?
Yes.
Or at least have had in the past?
Yes, we do. We still do.
Yeah, so,
And the personnel manual for firefighters does make that exception for firefighters.
okay.
Craig, we've had trouble hiring this, haven't we, in the past? Filling these summer help positions?
We've always managed to fill the positions.
Okay. But we don't have people like coming out of woodwork for them.
No, we had a summer help last year. She worked 2 or 3 days a week, and she indicated she wanted to come back and do the same thing for 2 or 3 days. In fact, the person that was working the full-time during the season last year, he called up and said he was available too if we need him.
This position reports to Matt, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Further discussion?
I'm still have my same objection to granting this waiver without having a guideline for determining the rules or the reason to have somebody come and refuse to waive this, or just give a blanket, if we're gonna waive this for one, we need to waive it for everybody. Without it, we have no guidelines. Otherwise, it could potentially cause problems.
Your Honor,
Yes.
question for Craig. Are there other applicants for this position, or is this the only applicant?
Oh, one person has indicated that she's willing to come back and work 2 or 3 days during the summer.
Is that a typical shift, 2 or 3 days for a part-time help? Is that?
Yeah, typically we like to hire 2 persons working full-time during the summer months. And so the one person who did it last year, Austin, he had called up last week and said he was available. He was working on trying to get a couple of internships, but they fell through, so he's available if we needed him. And so if we hired Tyler, he would be working with his grandfather during the summer, taking care of the parks and mowing grass.
Yeah, no, he's working with his grandfather, correct?
Correct.
So Matt still handles discipline and evaluations and all that, right?
Correct.
Don't want to show favoritism if there's other applicants. If we hire a family member, it could show favoritism. The other 2 applicants that mentioned they may or may not, would like to come back. Would they be able to fill the part-time positions without Tyler, or?
Yes. We just got a word from Austin last week that he was interested in coming back, or available to come back if we wanted him.
Plan to bring all 3 on?
I don't think, no.
Got opening for 2? 2 full-time.
No, 1 full-time. Lynn is really the second full-time seasonal.
Oh, okay. Tyler, you mean?
So there's 2 total full-time employees, summer employees.
So there's 5 full-time public works employees right now. And then Lynn's gonna just kind of not do the public works, but the parks, and his grandson, and then 4 other guys. And we're advertising for another full-time public works department right now. I think I posted today.
Your Honor, looking through our budget packet that was in one of our envelopes, I see the public services budget. You're talking about hiring a new full-time employee because of the fact that Tom and Lynn are going to be retiring within 5 years. That'd be great to have someone with some experience in the pipeline that's considering a career in it.
Okay, further discussion? Hearing none?
One other question. So Matt will have the final say in who fills this position, right? Correct. He'll interview all 3 of the candidates then, and then he'll make a decision.
He already knows all 3 of the candidates. The goal would be to have Tyler make this a full-time career for him.
I see.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. C, discussion and take action if appropriate to approve up to $2,000 for 3 family nights at William Ferry Park. Will, do you have information on this?
Yeah, you want me to make a motion first, Your Honor?
Sure.
I'll make a motion to approve up to $2,000 for 3 family nights at William Ferry Park. So, Rec Commission has been working on this. Several commissioners are working on getting food truck participants. So the goal is to have three nights, 1 night a month, to where we have a family night in William Ferry Park. It brings awareness to the park. It brings in some food trucks. We're working on getting some live bands. And it's just an all-around just community gathering night or event, similar to what other communities do with having, food truck stops on certain days of the week. So we have sort of gone through the different municipalities surrounding us and figured out when all their food truck nights are, so we're not conflicting with any of those. Craig, I think we decided on Fridays.
That's tentative, yes.
Okay. So Fridays, once a month, like I said, at least for this year. This will give us an opportunity to gauge the, participation and see where we go from there. But, Rec Commission thinks it'll be a good way to bring the community together into another one of our parks.
Do you guys have an idea what time on Friday? Like 4 to 6, 5 to 7?
Yeah, I think we said around 5 o'clock for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It's
5 to 7 or 6 to 8.
Yep. Again, this is contingent on some, food trucks and their schedules and everything else. And then the $2,000 would cover bands, correct, Craig?
Correct.
Okay. So the food trucks, we don't have to pay for it because they would come in and sell
Right.
their food items and beverages or whatever. Okay. Interesting.
And this is a not to exceed $2,000.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Sure. Yes.
I assume that this is already in the budget, Craig.
No, it is not, but the budget should be only have $2,000. And this will probably be what, June, July, and August?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. D, introduction of ordinance 327, an ordinance to regulate miscellaneous offenses. Craig?
Have nothing to add to what was in the packet.
Oh, okay. So the 327, is that this you included, that's a brand new ordinance, or it's in addition to the,
It's a brand new.
okay,
So 1, 2, and 3 are new items that would be considered a miscellaneous offense in the city code.
okay.
This is something I did speak with Sergeant McKellar about, and he indicated it'd be a good idea to have this.
Okay. Yeah, if we don't have anything in place now, then I think that would be a good idea. The only concern I have is number 3, expectorate, which is spitting. If somebody has, a throat issue or whatever and they spit, it'd be against the law, so I don't know if I like that in there. What do you guys think? I mean, if it's a medical issue that they have to spit, what happens? I mean, the other stuff, yeah, I can see, but. You know, what if they cough and they got a bunch of phlegm and stuff? I mean, I think that's a little silly.
I think the police officers would have discretion.
Yeah. Now, if you're like spitting on the police officer, then no. But if you're, you know what I mean?
I think that's considered assault anyways.
Right.
What do other local municipalities have in this area, Craig?
One in here is exact copy of City of Grand Haven.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a problem with that. Our officers are good at using their discretion. Potential for abuse or,
Okay. So, you guys want to move forward with it and have Craig do some, put on maybe the next agenda or so?
Craig, I don't see any fines or anything associated with this ordinance. Is there a reason for that?
So no, I asked the city attorney, I haven't heard back from him yet. Every other subsection in the nuisance city code on the nuisance, last paragraph, the last three words are penalties, he's section 91.99 or something like that. So I gotta, trying to find out if I gotta insert that in this. Mm-hmm.
Other subject.
Okay, is that enough for you, Craig? All right. Moving on, E, work session solicitation ordinance.
Your Honor,
Yes.
this is one that I requested to be put on here, and it is because of the gentleman we have at the ramp. I don't have a copy of the Norton Shores ordinance. However, yes, I would like, we cannot prohibit it per se because of the Supreme Court has designated that to be free speech. However, the ordinances that are in place have been put in place through Norton Shores and other communities that have limited it and making it that you have to have a permit to solicit funds. If you look at the Norton Shores, first page, section 22, 162, 161, section B. Describes where you can solicit funds from, but also talks about the needing to have a records check and having the city issue a permit. So I would, we can, I do believe background check done on the person, such as felonies, misdemeanors, sexual offense registry, where they would be denied a permit. This would not pertain, of course, ordinance. It would not pertain to those who are in the 401, 503, or whatever the nonprofit organizations are. It would not affect them. This would only affect individuals. And that way we can guarantee that suggestion
Honor, I was there on the ramp the other day and I saw just what you're talking about. He was at the corner with his dog. He ran across two cars to get to the third car, which was in the turn lane, to get money. So everybody else had to just stop. And then he ran back. So, I mean, it causes a little problem.
He could get hit or he could cause an accident.
Not a crosswalk there, right?
No crosswalk, no.
So we already have tools to address it if we want to.
If someone saw it, yes, or made a complaint, yeah,
That's what we would need for this too, right? Someone has to see it.
correct.
Have made complaints, and they have checked them out, and then because the Supreme Court has ruled that we cannot prohibit somebody from soliciting funds.
Or if we can give them a jaywalking ticket.
Sure. Add a layer that would make it, basically it would make it impossible to solicit on the on-ramps because most of those people have records. Hospital and emergency run, and I had to drive around him because he was standing in the roadway. But I think it would be a lot more better for our community to not have people out there soliciting funds on our highways and byways.
Craig, this ordinance from Norton Shores is very clear about a solicitor and what a solicitor is. I mean, that person asking for money wouldn't be considered a solicitor based on the verbiage of this ordinance. I mean, this says that a solicitor is a person who solicits on behalf of a charitable or civic organization. It says charitable or civic organization means a nonprofit organization that's qualified under Section 501c3 or 501c4. I mean, I don't think this man has his own charity. So I'm just wondering if this would, if we put this in place today, if it would even apply to him.
But if you look above that, begging and soliciting.
But that's
This-
all it says is begging and soliciting.
Ask, beg, or solicit mean and include without limitation spoken, written, or printed word, acts, conducts.
Craig, have you spoken to Brooke about this? How does he feel about this?
No, I wanted to get some direction from city council first.
It seems like we visited this before, and it seems that with the Supreme Court's ruling, it would be kind of a slippery slope for us to put a permit in place for somebody to practice their First Amendment. And I think we would be open for litigation if we go forward with this.
That's why we look at what other cities have done that have this in place already, because there are other cities that have been able. We can't prohibit them from doing it, but we can make it so looks like on Reddit and other ordinance, not just organizations but individuals as well. There's other ordinances out there that speak specific to individuals.
Basically, you're saying they need a permit to practice their First Amendment right, and that's kind of defeats the whole purpose of having an amendment, or a right. If you need a permit to practice it, correct? I'm just saying. I mean, I agree with you, but
I know you're being the devil's advocate on this, but that
Yeah.
you're correct. But there's a lot of things that a lot of our amendments and freedoms that we, we have a freedom to drive our cars, but we have to have a driver's license to drive a car and go through certain tests and requirements to do that. That is one. Vetting the people, making it so, again, it's a health, I believe it's a health and safety issue, which it does also fall under our purview as council members, because we are, according to charter, charged with health and safety of the residents of our city. So I would rather get this in place and have it challenged than have it not in place and have something happen now. It's easier to defend taking action than to defend not taking in action.
I would like to see if we have a concern with him running in traffic, running in front of traffic, that law enforcement addresses that.
Got to be other ways around this whole First Amendment right issue. Yeah, like being in traffic, disturbing traffic,
yeah.
or impeding traffic. Yeah. Yeah. I agree, Tim. This is a problem we've had in our city. I brought it up before. I've personally had issues with vulgar language from one of the solicitors we have in town, calling my wife names and all kinds of derogatory remarks. And I do feel we need to do something. I just don't want to open our city up for litigation. That's what scares me.
Well, I think that'd be a good thing to ask our city attorney, get his opinion on this and see if I would like to,
Yeah, we definitely need.
Right. Yes.
Beggars in Norton Shore when I'm out and about. But I am seeing them in Muskegon and I'm seeing them in Ferrysburg.
Yeah.
And he sets up camp. He actually sets up camp
Yep.
there on the corner.
Your Honor, I think under section B, item 6 covers exactly what we're looking for. From any occupant of a motor vehicle that is in traffic or on a public street. That what he's doing, according to, if this were become the law of Ferrysburg, what he is doing would be illegal. And I don't think we'd be violating First Amendment rights by forcing a safety issue. I mean, really, that's my biggest concern with this guy is safety. Or not this guy, but anybody who works that corner. I've seen at least 4 people since I've lived here working that corner on a regular basis.
I kind of like Holland. What they did is section 31-2 license required exceptions. No person shall solicit any funds or assistance for any purposes other than those prohibited by section 31.6 unless such person shall have first obtained a license to do so.
Well, then I think we get into the area Jerry is concerned about of possibly infringing on First Amendment rights by making them get a license. Or am I reading too much into it? I don't know. That's why I like the Norton Shores model.
I like both, but we can
check with Brooke and
get some opinion from our city attorney and what he feels would be best to handle that person and any other ones that we're having issues with.
And Your Honor, I'm not seeing anywhere where he would be eligible for getting a license for charitable contributions. I don't
Doesn't
see,
have a license, then.
I don't see where he's eligible. I do find it interesting that Holland does, during Tulip Festival, does not grant any licenses.
There there you go. Prohibited during tulip time.
Yep.
Okay, you got enough info, Craig?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, F, work session, Economic Development Task Force report. Tim, you mentioned you wanted to look at some of these and maybe assign different committees or people to some of the recommendations from the task force.
Yes. One of the items that was brought up was the fence line over by our
Highway,
the highway there.
yeah, it's in bad shape.
And I think one of the things that to do, I would like to recommend is maybe the beautification committee take up the idea of adopting the highway, that section, perhaps that to Ridge or up to Van Wagner, whatever it would the case be, and maybe we could get permission to go in and clean up around the fences, the dead brush and stuff that's there, make it a little bit more presentable, and perhaps get a sign saying "Welcome to Ferrysburg." You know, that's a very highly used ramp there. There are some issues in here that the Planning Commission could look at. Okay, so 5 and 6 would be the beautification committee. Encourage the Planning Commission to promote the economic development.
Where are you seeing 5 and 6?
I'm sorry, at the very last page under
Your Honor,
recommendations to the City Council.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
we've got 16 different things here. Instead of jumping around, we just start at number 1 and assign them to a board or commission. Just go through the list.
You wanna do that? Okay.
I mean, that way Craig has some direction to put them on everybody's agenda.
I was just giving examples of.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's just start at the beginning and knock them all out so we don't miss any.
Okay. Number 1, pursue the addition of wider sidewalks, fishing platform, bike lane to the critical new Smith Bayou Bridge. Craig's working on that already, so. Number 2, work with Grand Haven and Spring Lake Village to jointly select a preferred plan when MDOT begins planning a replacement for the drawbridge over the Grand River. Well, that could be quite a ways out. I mean, that's not gonna happen soon, so that's not really a timely thing. 3, recommend MDOT that Ferrysburg exit signs be placed on southbound US 31 before the 2 Ferrysburg exits. Yeah, because that's all owned by the state, so we would have to get their permission to put one up, or they have, I don't know what they're called. The blue ones are more the signs that tell information.
That's something you can call about?
Sure.
Okay, so
The white ones that say, Van Wagner Road has an arrow, just add Ferrysburg to that sign. There's a couple signs that we could just add the word Ferrysburg to it.
Okay.
The mileage sign that says Spring Lake and Grand Haven, add Ferrysburg in to that.
that one. Greg, you want to check into it to see how easy it is to add some letters to existing signage from MDOT? Okay. All right, let's see. 4, to avoid projecting a depressed look on the south end of Pine Street, Do all the city can to promote and encourage repurposing, replacing the vacant Pizza Hut and developing the undeveloped lots to the north.
I think one of the things that, we were going to also look into discussing was rebranding our, brownfield development.
Committee?
Joint committee there, and
Yeah, I agree. Brownfield.
Yeah, I think there's a piece of this that goes to public works or beautification too. Craig, those pavers or landscape blocks there at the four-way stop or three-way stop, they're all falling in and disheveled and need to be addressed. Thank you. And does beautification plant flowers there? Okay.
Beautification Commission has placed an order for flowers, and usually the Public Works guys plant them.
Okay. 5, citywide, periodically clean and remove vegetation from curbs and streets to make them visually attractive. So I think we were around, what was it, Elm Street and 4th or 5th over there that we talked about that?
Street, Oak and Fifth Street.
Yeah. Then all, okay.
It's public.
DPW will
Yep.
clean
Yep.
that stuff up.
Has there been talk about adding more curbs as we redo streets, Craig?
So we have a drainage problem.
Okay, just curious.
It's harder to plow with the curb.
What's that?
It's a little harder to plow with the curb.
Yeah. And then, plow people's yards, so.
Truck, we,
5 times a year now.
4 or 5 times a year.
We don't do the local streets every time though.
No, just basically the main,
The major streets.
major streets.
That's a DPW thing, right? Number 5.
Yep. Number 6, work with MDOT to replace, maintain their fence along US 31 right away. Yeah, because some of the fence is all the way down to the ground, and it's just a real cheap metal fence. So, did they ever reply back to you, Craig, on that when you emailed them?
Yeah, we've had some conversations. I'll touch base with them again.
Okay, see if they can at least fix their old crappy thing they got now. 7, recommend that Johnson Boiler Oilers continuously operate business in Ferrysburg and other historical significant places be brought into Ferrysburg identity with historical markers.
I think it'd be brownfield work on.
I mean, can the beautification team look into a historical marker? I mean, we're not really developing anything, they just want to get a marker and recognize it. Or city staff?
Okay. Number 8, encourage the planning commission to continue its effort to promote economic development in the core commercial CC and service S zoning districts by reduced setbacks, increased lot coverage, and mixed commercial residential construction. Allow residential on second floor of retail businesses. Rich, is there anything, any other properties that they're looking at doing? I know that Todd Camps was looking at one property, but I don't know what
I'm
happened to
sure
the
there's
last.
gonna be more, cause it's an interesting concept that's
Yeah.
very saleable.
Right, yeah, not a lot of communities do that, so I think
No.
it's a great idea.
That's allowed now.
What's that?
That's a,
Yeah, okay, cool.
So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 are really all planning commission items.
Oh, is it? Okay. Increased parking, core commercial, revised zoning ordinance. All right. Number,
Your Honor,
yeah,
just to clarify, number 7 is beautification, correct?
City staff, what do you recommend, Craig?
Probably having a committee involved would help staff, so beautification commissioner or brownfield. Or just takes a little time to do the research for what's on the marker.
Yeah,
The library can help us probably.
I have
Museum.
I have a Tri-States historical book at home that has a whole few pages on Johnson Brothers. I can give it to you. But yeah, Deb, if you wouldn't mind.
And up to them, you know, there's 4 women from the age of mid-70 to mid-80. So when you suggest to go pull weeds on a fence by 31, it's not gonna happen with my ladies, believe me.
Well,
We're old.
well, I would be, I think this would be perhaps a good, community project.
I think that'd be a good.
I wouldn't mind driving my little tractor down there with a little wagon and haul some of that stuff out of there. I like doing landscaping. So
In
volunteer to-
truth, Your Honor, who's responsible for that, really? MDOT, yes, okay,
We'll have that conversation first.
okay.
try to get them to do something. Okay, where are we at? Oh, number 10, revise the zoning ordinance to make signage options more business friendly. I know that was a big topic when we did our community walk. You know, the Keenan Marina building, a la mode, the heating cooling place. They would just like to put maybe a little bit, you know, additional open sign or some type of signage that it's not going to look trashy. It's not going to be used car flags, nothing like that. But I think that's what the business owner's feedback to us was. It'd be nice to have a little bit more ability to display like an open signage or a flag right next to maybe the building or somewhat, where it's not going to obstruct any traffic. It's not near the street. It's next to the building.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Planning Commission certainly has talked about this, and we would welcome any proposals put forth from the citizens and property owners down there for if they'd like to do something different with signage.
Okay.
We have not seen anything yet
Okay.
directly regarding signage requests, but
Okay. From the business owners. Okay,
Yes.
sure. That would be fair. Okay. 11, promote economic development on the currently undeveloped stretches of LI2 and GC zone property Van Wagner Street. What corner is that on? Is that 174th and Van Wagner or something else? Oh, okay. And you guys are already working on that?
that is correct.
Okay, planning committee, okay. 12, promote economic development on undeveloped parcel on both sides of 174th. Oh, you guys are working on that too, right? All right, 13, the railroad crossing on 3rd Street should be frequently inspected, and if need of repair, the city should promptly make the needed repairs. Isn't it the railroad company that owns the railroad?
Public Works really kind of, the city's responsible for repairs.
Oh, okay. All right. Public Works. All right, 14, install helpful signage for visitors to travel to Ottawa Sands County Park and make certain that the approaches from North Van Wagner, 174th, and from the south, 3rd Street, 174th, are well maintained as to provide a favorable impression of Ferrysburg. Craig, do you know if the county wanted to put some wayfaring signs to Ottawa Sands Park?
I have not heard, I can check with them.
Okay.
What kind of parks.
See if they can shell out some cash for that.
And this, going back to the discussion about the signs, we still need truck routing signs. along the highway and, at, Ben Wagner and the off ramp. The last time we shut down 31, I had 2 truckers that did not want to go to 174th. They wanted to go down to 168th and go down, so.
Those signs will come up when the detour goes up, and that will do all that. And we were stressed to have them go to the west.
Okay, where are we at? 15. Now that the zoning ordinance has been updated, allow, encourage electric vehicle charging stations, pursue policies that encourage their installation. Greg, were you looking at, you looked at some grants before, and you said there wasn't available, but maybe now could possibly be something?
We're looking for them.
Okay. And do you know if Leppinks is gonna put charging stations there at their parking lot?
I have not seen
Any
anything.
update? All right, I'll ask John maybe if I see him next week or two. Okay. A citizen said William Ferry Park would be a good spot for some charging stations, and that might be a good idea because there's quite a few cars that park there on the weekends and sometimes during the week. Any other good places around town you guys can think of for EV charging stations? City Hall? No? Not enough traffic?
I mean, maybe, I don't know that we're making our money back on charging stations that are city owned. I just don't see a cost benefit analysis.
I'd like to see it pursued by private businesses, like if Leppings wants to put some in,
Right.
encourage that.
Yeah, they would pay for it.
You see it up at Meyer in Norton
Yeah,
Shores,
Meyer,
they put some
yeah.
in. The only ones I've seen around here that are operated by a municipality are in Spring Lake on that park near the walking trail about,
By
what's the
the-
cross street? Where the
By
light.
Jackson? By
Yeah,
Jackson
right
Street
around
over
in
there?
there are some
Okay.
charging stations there that are operated by the city. I never see any vehicles there.
Did the village pay for those, do you know?
I would assume so, since it's on village property.
Hmm,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
I don't
just, that's just a guess on my part, but it's on village property, and
Yeah.
so.
Craig, can you check with Chris Burns maybe on those and see if she got it? A grant
I haven't
for
seen-
it, or
I haven't seen
had to
any
pay for
Grand
it?
Haven.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Okay, let's see. 16, last one. Replace the current Brownfield Development Authority with newly constituted body that is BRA. So we already talked about that. And did we get any more applications, Craig? We had 3.
We have 4 now
But we have 4.
for the new board.
And we need, what, 7?
5 to 7, yes.
5 to 7. We got 4.
Yes,
5?
yes.
How many of them have reapplied?
1,
Out of how many?
yeah, 4.
Have the others expressed interest in reapplying?
I have not heard anything. I sent them an email last week.
Okay. All right. Done with that. Moving on. G, work session, proposed 2023-2024 city budget. There's a lot of stuff in here. So Craig, you gotta advertise it in the paper to say, public hearing on the budget.
Yes, we'll do that and have a public hearing at the next meeting. I just want to go through a few highlights on the
Okay.
budget.
Cool.
So in the past, we've collected millage for Harbor Transit Museum and Council on Aging, and we collect that money and put them in the general fund, and then when we did accounts payables, we would pay those entities. We talked to the auditors last year, and what we're gonna do this year is not put that revenue into the general fund. It's all gonna stay in the tax account. So when we pay these other entities like Ottawa County and the school and ISD and the library with the tax check, we're just gonna write the tax check for these three entities. So that general fund's gonna be down, it's not as large as it was in the previous years because we're not counting those three items as revenue anymore. We count them as a revenue and expense, but they're not gonna go in the general fund this year. For millage rate for 2023, we're gonna propose the same as 2022, 7.6883 mils. And then we talking to the auditors last year, they wanted us to include Smith's Bridge in next fiscal year budget, just have it on the books. Seeing that last week's meeting, I'm not sure it's necessary, but we're gonna keep it in there as a placeholder. And also just a note that, you know, some communities, they charge a 1% administrative fee on the tax collection on their tax bill, and the city of Ferrysburg does not do that. These are some of the items from that's going to be in community promotion. The left-hand column you see is from 21-22. Middle column is the current year, and the far right is proposed. You can see that it's going up a little bit every year. One of the reasons is we got the $7,500 in the community energy plan that we're going to account for. Some of these items in here are getting expensive to support. And the holiday dinner, you know, price of food and going out to eat is getting expensive. The mayor's breakfast increases every year lately, so might have to take a look at some of these items in the future before we include them in the budget. Some of the highlights from the general fund, we're gonna still got this place for the sound system. We're expecting that in the next fiscal year. Do some ballast and bulb replacement at Coast Guard Park. Also, there's some discussion going on about doing lights at Coast Guard Park at the softball field. And so we're looking into that, but we've got a placeholder in there for that, $55,000. We still want to do the software to do our own payroll in-house. And we're going to replace some of the picnic tables and trash cans within the city. Major streets, nothing major out of the ordinary. It's mostly typical items. We got some money in there for the Mary Avenue drain. There's a street sweepings for the major streets and the local streets. We see that we got 12,000 in there for major streets and 5,000 in there for the local streets. And basically, the other item that is new in there is the salt spreader. We want to get a spare salt spreader. Public Improvement Fund, we've got $350,000 going out for Roosevelt Road. We're working on that project and hope to start the 1st of July. We got the ARPA money that we want to use for William Ferry Park. We're starting to move on that and get that item going. And there's the lawnmower placeholder in there that would probably be approved or delivered in next fiscal year. Sewer fund, really nothing out of the ordinary there. We're going to televise some sewer lines. That's what was recommended from the SAW grant. So we have a number of streets that we want to televise the sanitary sewer to make sure the mains are still in good condition. Some of the items that they identified in the SAW grant, we want to make some of those repairs, storm sewer repairs, so eliminate infiltration. And then sewer line jetter, if we have a problem in one of our sewer lines that we can get to it quickly and get it cleaned out. And lift station number 1, we want to do some upgrades in there. It was done about 10 years ago. We just want to do a few items in there. That station is maintained by the city of Ferrysburg, but the cost-wise is split between Ferrysburg and Spring Lake Township. So we're working on, that'd be a joint project with the township. Water fund, just a couple service lines that we want to replace. There's the water tanks on Bad Wagner and out there by 152nd Avenue. Those are going to be painted in the near future, so the engineers can go out there and look at them and see what needs to be done. And those things are cost share with the North Bank communities. line locator, metal detector, and still working on replacing the water meters. Public Works, they want to do some work, clean up the office a little bit. One of the heaters is on and off. We want to replace that, and the roof and insulation needs to be replaced in the building. They want to get a stump grinder that they can outfit with a backhoe so they can do some their own stump grinding. Perhaps a motor trailer, an air compressor, some of the items that were included in the budget. This is the water on the top row, top half of the spreadsheet. You can see for the calendar year of 2021 that we used about 151 million gallons, or purchased about 151 million gallons of water at a cost of 163,000. In 22, we used less water, 143 million gallons. But you can see the cost increase of 170,000. So for less water, we pay more money. The bottom rows, left-hand column again, is the sanitary sewer. About 80 million gallons we were billed for 198,000. And 22 was very similar, 79 million, at basically the same price. This is from the wastewater treatment plant. Ferrysburg expected to pay $233,581 for operation and maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant. And then we get into the water sewer billing. We're proposing a 3% increase in our ready-to-serve charge for water, a 1.37% increase in the water rate, which is 1 penny. The sewer rate to serve charge is a decrease of 3.05%, which is $2.62 a quarter, and the sewer rate would be unchanged at 99 cents a cubic meter. With those changes, it would be, for a typical customer, about 72 cents less a quarter, or $2.87 a year. That's what's being proposed for next year. And that's all I have. Any questions?
One thing I saw that kind of jumped out at me was $45,000 for painting fire hydrants. Is that correct, or?
Yeah, because you got to self-contain them so that when you sandblast them, that all the paint doesn't go flying over.
Oh, so it's a whole major affair. Just
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was done a number of years ago, and it really dresses up the city when they're painted.
Sure. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. But,
I'm not sure we'll do it this year, but maybe in the spring of next year.
Oh, man. Okay. Moving down to 8, public comments. Hear none. Moving on. 9, reports, city manager,
No report?
city council members. Debbie?
We meet next Monday.
Okay. Jerry?
no report.
Bill?
Police commissions next week, Harbor Transit's at the end of the month, so really no report right now.
Okay. Will?
Yeah, Rec Commission met last week, discussed, we're on track for the Coast Guard picnic this year. We also had the community walk in Ferrysburg Nature Preserve this weekend. I was not able to make it, but a lot of positive comments from city residents, a lot of people hoping that will be an annual event. So we will bring that back to to the Rec Commission and continue looking at other ways to highlight our parks. Tree Board also met. They held their Arbor Day celebration with the school next door, with the Montessori school. Mayor Blease, I believe you were there. I unfortunately had to work, but again, good response. Nice article in the Tribune about it. And then we had a NORA meeting last week. We continue to look at different fundraising techniques, working with Kalahari, is that the name of them?
Canary.
Canary, Canary, to just learning how to draft letters and engage donors and different things like that. So more to come with that.
Cool. Rich?
Craig, I was reading your report about Smith's Bridge, and do we have to do soil borings and everything else in order to proceed?
I don't think we need to. I've talked to John Moxie, who's been doing the inspections for a number of years, and he really has no concerns with the condition of the piers.
Provided we don't do any more sidewalk extensions or fishing piers or something else.
As long as you don't get the weight over the 60 tons.
60 tons?
Yeah, and so they're working with them down a little bit of what we're proposing. They're concerned that it might be over the 60 ton, but there's exception of up to 10% they're saying. So they're going to do the final calculations and get back to us.
Okay, Tim?
Okay, the first thing I just found out today that Commander Smith, the Coast Guard Festival, passed away. I got to know him over the years, and it's kind of a reflect on that loss of a community leader. With the other day, we got the stickers in for 4 years into being Tree City, USA. See those stickers on our signs. That's great. The 60th anniversary of Ferrysburg being a city this year. The museum is putting on this. We're being featured, and I'm hoping somebody will take up the banner and perhaps they're looking. I attended the MML Capcom, and at my own expense, which was, I'm glad I went, because it's kind of hard to tell exactly what the breakout sessions are going to cover by their titles. But the two that I got to go to both happen to deal with board of review issues, and this will benefit the residents of the city by having. I was able to talk to the director of the Department of Treasury and get some clarification on some questions that we had on personal property tax exemptions. Great information, great review, great new information. There's some new information out there that's coming out. So glad that I attended that. The general sessions were a lot of great information that came out there. Hearing from the both the leaders of both the House and the Senate, and their discussion that the issues that are coming up. There were some things that are concerning, but it sounds like they're working to meet some middle ground. With our budget, the Senate and House passed a public safety bill, and I'm hoping to, I don't know if Craig has heard yet, how the city can get some of that funding. This year, the fire department is looking at a very large increase in the cost of training, partially due to I'm now required to go through 36 hours of additional training in over 3 years' time to keep my certification as a firefighter, as well as the other firefighters on the department. And I know there are some funds available for training, so hopefully, Craig, have you heard any?
Looking for that.
Okay. There, part of the time I spent on the MML conference was in discussion with some of the vendors, and they gave me some. I got some great ideas on stuff that we could do for the city. It's too late now, but they did possibly have grants available for the speed tables that we put out. But there are other grants available that we can look into. So that looks like that's all I've got for tonight.
Okay. I attended the Arbor Day event. Well, it was Friday, and that was a good turnout across the street at Walden Green. Thanks for the Tribune for a nice article. Ferrysburg Nature Preserve Community Hike. Rich and Jerry were there also. I think we had about 35 people, all very positive comments on the hike. My MML report, I thought it was very informative, networked with other municipalities, talked to the people of Grand Haven, Muskegon, North Shores, Mount Pleasant, and a few more. Governor Gretchen Whitmer attended, and she said the state revenue sharing is supposed to go up to 5%. Not sure where it's at now, but we're supposed to get 5% every year after that. 2% in public safety and 2% for ongoing. Let's see. Mayor Rosalind Bliss from Grand Rapids was there also. She was in the general session. Some of the big investments in Michigan were $1 billion investment from Ford Motor Company. Let's see. Global investment from a Norway manufacturing company in Cassopolis, Michigan. They are investing $150 million, 70 new jobs, and it's a tiny, small city, 1,700 residents. What really stood out with them is the city manager of that when the manufacturing came in from Norway. So I thought that was a pretty cool story. They're still working on short-term rentals. So that's still, there's no solution or agreement yet. Senator Roger Victory's helping work on that. Let's see. They just said that they want to honor local control, but still have state rights. So health, safety, tourism, all that. Private property rights for the individual rights also. Housing, a statewide problem, of course. That's all over. That's just not Michigan. That's all over the United States. But they did say there's a shortage in Michigan of 190,000 units short for housing. And they said a lot of employers are losing potential new employees because the new potential employees can't find affordable housing. Let's see. They're going to continue on economic development. Something about a wastewater corridor for infrastructure for the whole state of Michigan. Would have a big positive overall economic impact. One of the breakout sessions I attended was lobbying. I met a person there, John LaMacchia II. He's the director of the State and Federal Affairs And he's over the EOA, which is Elected Officials Academy for Advocacy. They testify before the legislative committees. They meet with the legislatures and their staff. They work with various departments and other interest groups. They provide information for us, municipalities, and talk with the legislators. Does anybody know how many bills are introduced each session on average? 4,000. 4,000 bills introduced each session on an average. 2/3 impact local government. Michigan is one of only a handful of states that have a full-time legislator. But we have year-round access to them. So there's a good website. I know Tim's looked at it, maybe Bill, www.legislative.michigan.gov. And that tracks all the different legislation. It tracks what bills are on there, find committee meetings, find who the reps and the senators are all over the state. Let's see. He also talked about making it a priority to develop relationships with our legislators. So Greg Van Workum is in our area here, and then Roger Victory. But he said, have a good relationship with their staff, invite them to maybe some of our council meetings, local events, ribbon cuttings, host roundtable discussions, invite them to the city budget. I guess it was too late to do that, but tell them thanks, be grateful they're helping us. And then one was a breakout on Michigan Department of Treasury. It's mainly for clerks and treasurers, so there wasn't really a lot of information I got from that one to bring back. And a report?
Your Honor?
Yes, Tim?
I missed one thing. At our last council session, I talked about the impact on the city of the right to work law.
Oh, yeah.
I did talk with Representative Van Workum about that, along with briefly with Senator Victory and a couple other representatives. And our representatives, Van Workum, he did state that he will look into that. Bill, that case you sent me, the Supreme Court did rule that municipal firefighters are not covered under the right to work law. So that we, right now, he got the information, they're researching it, and hopefully they'll come back to allow us to keep our 5 firefighters that are full-timers on the other departments. If that does not work, there is an organization that will step in and fight to help us keep the our firefighters as we currently have them. I talked with him on a couple other issues and he was very favorable with responsive to my concerns, and I just wanted to give you an update on that.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Or
Greg, who did this? They put it on Bridge Map.
8:24 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, but we're not gonna play around with this and get pushed out of it. I was ready to say something and then Rich said something instead, is that what's
Big,
concerning?
big minutes.